It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News. On this, the 19th day of January, 2021, coming to you from Forest in Bedford County, Virginia, with our regular broadcast of Travel and Cruise Industry News. We do this every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and do all kinds of other stuff on this channel. If you're new, welcome aboard. Some actual breaking news this morning before we get to a couple stories. And this came out of the UK. Royal Caribbean announced it, and our friend Dave Monk broke the story. But Royal Caribbean Group today announced that it has entered into a definitive agreement to sell Azamara brand to Sycamore Partners, a private equity firm specializing in consumer, retail, and distribution investments, in an all-cash carve-out transaction for $201 million, subject to certain adjustments and closing conditions. Sycamore Partners will acquire the entire Azamara brand, including its 3-ship fleet and associated intellectual properties. The transaction is subject to customary conditions and is expected to close in the first quarter of this year. So, Royal Caribbean sells Azamara this morning. Kind of a surprise move, at least surprising to me. But then, they're strapped for cash, as are all of our friends in the cruise industry. So, the main story, or my lead story this morning, has to do with, our friends over at the CDC. They issued some new air travel requirements, and how much will they affect cruising? On the 12th, that was a week ago, the CDC issued an order that goes into effect January 25th, requiring all air passengers arriving in the U.S. from a foreign country to get tested no more than 3 days before their flight departs. All passengers will also be required to present the negative result of a test or documentation of having recovered from COVID-19 to the airline before boarding the flight. This puts the U.S. in line with various other countries that have introduced similar measures over the last few weeks. What makes this a little more sticky is with these mutations that have cropped up recently, especially the one in the UK that's now probably been in the US a lot longer than we thought and is going to become the major strand in the US, it looks like. But anyway, the testing 72 hours prior to travel was originally only for those passengers from the UK. The order has now been expanded to all passengers arriving in the US. Now, from January 25th, anyone flying to the U.S. will therefore need to have official documentation of a negative COVID-19 test or certified proof of being a recovered patient. The CDC recommends passengers get tested no more than 3 days before the flight. They should also be tested with a viral test, that's one of the antigen tests, to determine if currently infected with COVID-19. Not only that, any flight entering the U.S., even for a connection, will require testing before departure. Now, cruise lines, of course, have long counted on air travel to bring their passengers to them. The question is now if cruises from the U.S., if and when they ever get started, will be seeing any international passengers on board. It seems unlikely with the list of measures implemented by the CDC. So basically, a guest arriving from a country outside the U.S. would first need to be tested in their home country. After they arrive in the U.S. with a negative test, they'll also need to be tested after 3 to 5 days in the U.S., again before going on the cruise and before leaving the ship again. Not only that, the guests will be asked to quarantine for 7 days, according to the CDC. While the quarantine is stated as not mandatory, it could be demanded from those traveling from overseas, as many other countries are also doing. Cruising is supposed to be fun and relaxing activity. The question is, how many people undergo that many different procedures just to get on a boat and sail? I'm wondering much the same thing. I'm wondering, I don't know. I think we got to get through all this before we're ever going to sail safely again. We've got to get the vaccine out totally, worldwide, not just in the States, but worldwide. And then you still got the issue of what's going to happen on the ships themselves. I don't know, folks. This is to me, it's looking worse and worse on cruising. But definitely, if they ever get to cruising again, you're going to have all these air requirements that have to be changed or implemented. And until, we get things under control, it's got to be implemented. So anyway, all right, next story this morning. Tom Henry and I started tracking a former Carnival ship, which, of course, most recently was the grand celebration of the Grand Bahamas Cruise Line. We've been watching this for some time now because there were a series of rumors, denials, crazy locations on the charts. Even our friend Emma picking up some information on this. Well, that now ends. The grand celebration, which was the number one ship in the Bahamas Paradise line, a former Carnival ship, has been beached in India and is being scrapped. Period. The end. No more rumors. No more innuendos. As done. Bahama Paradise now has Grand Classica. I checked with them this morning. Their website says nothing other than to check back for information on the Grand Classica. No idea when it's going to restart. No idea if they have attempted to comply with the new CDC regulations. Who knows? So, Bahamas Paradise is down to one ship, definitely. So, those of you that watched the Cruise Amigos Sunday, was a little bit different show, as we had Carlos Rosado Vandegrat from a writer down in the Yucatan, who also does interesting excursions to archaeological digs throughout the Yucatan and the Mexico rainforest. To me, it was a fascinating show. Anytime I can sit back and listen to somebody that's way smarter than I am, I enjoy it. But anyway, just yesterday, Carlos broke a story. Excuse my coughing, folks. A rare and giant stucco mask left by a Mayan community was found at an archaeological site of Yucana in the municipality of Cansahaca. Researchers have dated the mask to the 4th century and note that it's reminiscent of similar decorative elements found in other archaeological sites in the Yucatan. So Carlos broke the story, and basically a graduate student that was on a dig found this mask, dated from the 4th century. But anyway, if you want to check his latest story, please, I'll put a link down in the description to the story. It's a good read. I found it fascinating that how much, we've all been to the Yucatan and knew about things like Chichen Itza, but had no idea of what else was involved in the archaeology of that area. At least I didn't. So anyway, that was interesting. Now, one other thing this morning. Could Cuba once again become a destination? And again, that's a theoretical question. With the Biden administration going in, there's a good possibility of them reestablishing the travel that we had before with Cuba. But now all the ships that were going to Cuba were the smaller ships that could go into Cuban ports. They're all pretty much been scrapped and sold. Will the cruise lines try to reinvest money to go back to Cuba? Good question. I don't know. It's clearly one that's a possibility, and may happen with the new administration going in starting tomorrow. That one we'll have to wait and see. As you can tell, folks, my voice is still screwed up from the chemo. And I still have this hacking cough that pops up on me, and I'm very hoarse, and my voice isn't back to normal. Other than that, I'm in the period now of, really good days until the next chemo treatment. So I will be posting this week's report later on today. So if you've been following my journey with prostate cancer, keep an eye out for that, and it'll be posted later on today. All right, let's go check and see who's here this morning. Tom Henry says, good morning to everybody. Tom says, April is officially canceled today. I'm glad Emily convinced me to move cruise to 23 on the Bliss transatlantic from Barcelona. Waiting for Pete to join us. I'm seriously looking at that one too. I've got that one on my radar as well, Tom. Gretchen's with us up in Ohio. Hi, Gretchen. Pete's with us over in London. Hi, Tom. That may even happen. I'm talking to Kim about potential groups. Amy's with us. Hi, Amy. Good to see you. Sonny's here from down in Mississippi. Conchita's here from down in Miami. Good to see you, Conchita. Glad you're with us again today. Pete says he'll definitely look into that. That might be an interesting. Tom says, I moved a 9-day Bermuda cruise June 30th, 2023 to a 16-day transatlantic, only $200 per person higher for the added 7 days. Wow, that's a pretty good deal. Tom says, not many ports on the Miami to Barcelona front end. Yeah, lots of sea days. Nikki's with us. Hi, Nikki. Tom says, I was hoping the 10% discount from today's cancellation would be extended to cruising in 2023, but that didn't happen. I have the B2B on the Jade from January from Cape Town to Athens. I'm still booked on this fall in Europe. And I'm seriously wondering now if we're going to be sailing by then. I mean, I hope we are. But I'm seriously starting to doubt it now. Things just don't seem to, even though actually there's the numbers in this country, we're starting to maybe see a peak. But still, with the problems with the vaccine, and I don't know. I'm just kind of depressed about the whole situation. Amy says you can only eradicate something if you immunize every single person in the world, and it works. I think COVID-19 will be around for years if it ever goes away. We have to learn to live with it. Well, that's certainly an interesting point of view, Amy. Nikki says, great show on Sunday. I thought so too. I had no idea. The reason I contacted him to be a guest was because I'd done that silly story about the woman that climbed Chichen Itza that was toasted, claiming to do it to spread her husband's ashes, which we never were able to find out for real if that was why she did, or she just wanted to, climb the stupid pyramid, which is no longer allowed, by the way. I mean, years ago, we all have done that, but it was legal then. So that's why I had him on. I had no idea about the archaeology end of things and him doing expeditions on these archaeological digs. To me, it was a fascinating show. Rob Slevin's with us. Hey, Rob, good to see you. Good morning from Kentucky. Now, I talked to Kentucky yesterday. It was my bouncing baby boy's 47th birthday. 47th? Yeah, 47, I think he is. So he's in Louisville. Emily's with us. Hey, Emily, up in there in New York. Rob says, my stepmother keeps trying to set up an Alaska 2021. I'm much more sure of a December Celebrity Edge trip this year. The December Celebrity Edge, let's hope for sure by then you're going. There's some real serious questions about Alaska in 21, I'm afraid. Emily's talking about that TA. Everybody's looking at this TA, and from Barcelona, I am too. It'd be nice if a bunch of us end up going on that, just to actually be on a cruise together. That would be cool. So, Emily says, will there be cruising in Alaska in 2021? I mean, it's not dead yet, but all right. Royal Caribbean, I was just this morning, I was updating a couple more places on my website, and Royal Caribbean's now into May on several of the ships. So if they're into May right now, and there's still not control of the situation, especially in Alaska, where you got to deal with Canada as well. Remember, if a ship sails from a U.S. port, it has to stop in a foreign port, which means from Seattle, it must stop in Canada. to go to Alaska. And Canada still has very strict regulations with us, and rightly so. So, I think the Alaska season is in sincere question again this year. And I know as much as those people, and I love my Alaska people, they need it as much as anybody in the world to get cruising going again. But I'm seriously worried that that's going to be the next thing to fall. There's already some of the earlier schedules have been changed. So I don't know. I just think, especially with the new administration going in, we don't know yet how the new CDC director is going to look at all of this. We don't know if those policies are going to change drastically, or if they're going to want to get a handle on everything before they do anything. I mean, we just don't know. Tom Henry says, what will Canada do when Biden shuts down the pipeline project? But, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of environmental issues that are going to change with the Biden folks going in. Do I think it's going to be the total wild, wacky left-wing things that some people are afraid of? No. I think you're going to find a lot of middle of the road stuff, but I definitely see some of the environmental issues coming back that Trump did away with totally. So I think we're going to see some major changes. And again, I'm not making a political statement, folks. I have no idea how it's going to work out. But yeah, I think we're going to see some changes. How it's going to affect us in the travel and cruise industry space, just don't know yet. We're just going to have to wait and see. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. Again, I'm feeling great. I'll get my post up later on today on my journey with prostate cancer. So keep an eye out for that. I'll see everybody back here Thursday morning or before then if something major happens. But as always, guys, stay safe, wear your mask, socially distance, do all those things you can. So one day, hopefully, we'll all get on a cruise ship real soon. So that's going to wrap me up for today, guys. Have a wonderful couple days. I'll see you Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Later, y'all.
Thank you for watching today's Travel and Cruise Industry News. Join us every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern for another episode. Travel and Cruise Industry News is a production of Chillie's Cruises.